Okay, I'm now call over to the Huntingburg Board of Public Works. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Father God, thank you for all those that are gathered to their day with concerns over the Board of Public Works issues that we face today. And we ask that you be with this board, that the decisions they make may be for the benefit of the citizens of these things. We ask your son's name. I got a chance to look at the minutes. Have both meetings here. We need a motion separately, probably to accept one. Can we do them together at the same time?
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll second. Got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I know we've all reviewed the claims now. Motion to accept those. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also carries. Going to start out, one thing that we didn't get on the agenda here, but we've been working on for several months now, quite a few months, is the repair work on 4th Street. I know we discussed it several times within the Board of Public Works meetings of taking that down, recompacting and adding concrete at the intersections and expanding that back. And we have a couple people here from VS Engineering today to talk about that plan.
Yeah.
We'd like to get that out for bid as quick as it can, because it will be on next year's budget. Will help us work on that. A lot of that, just so you know, a lot of that budget can be covered through the endowment. That's part of the stellar endowment. That was the original purpose of the endowment, was to go towards street reconstruction as well as preserving benches and other areas, other items that are along 4th Street. Actually have two endowments, one that's separate, the Market Street Park food for preservation of the park itself. So just step forward, introduce yourself, and talk a little bit about what's going on.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Brandon Gergel, so I'm the design engineer for we're calling it the 4th Street roadway adaptations. So essentially, what we've been working with the mayor and Jason on the city's concerns for 4th Street. So the major focus of the project will be to bring up the roadway pavers, pull those all up, restone, put those back down, but at the intersections where you're seeing more significant rutting occurring, we'll be putting concrete below there. So we'll have pavers on top of them still. So from the surface level, won't see any difference, but we'll have an additional structure underneath there to ensure that we don't have the settling that we're getting at Main Street or the Geiger Jackson Street at the stop signs there. In addition to that, we've got a couple of areas where we are fixing the trench drain where some damage has occurred there, and then the turning radius at Jackson Street or Geiger Street, sorry, we're improving that to allow a fire truck to more easily access from the south onto 4th Street. And then lastly, we are reallocating a couple of the parking stalls. We've got some tight parking areas where we have 3 parking stalls in a squared off area, and reallocating those to be 2 parking stalls. And we've worked with the mayor and Jason and the public to identify which areas we need to make those changes. I believe we're eliminating essentially 7 parking stalls throughout the entire length of the project by allocating from 3 to 2 or from 4 to 3. I guess any questions from the board?
Eliminating 7 parking places, but I think we've added more than 30. The Two parking lots since Full Street was reconstructed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in reality, we looked at spaces that were supposed to be for three and two vehicles are parking there.
Exactly.
Some of those, same people are in this room that have to park like that with their longer vehicles. Right now, a longer pickup truck with a hitch or anything cannot fit in those spaces anyway.
Yes, sir.
Even last night, I was down there and we had probably 5 spaces at that time that were not being utilized because two vehicles were in the 3 space areas. And
Yeah.
I don't know that there was an easy fix looking at the size of the vehicles that were there, so.
Yeah, we came up with a couple of different options, but the alternative that we've got seemed to be the most cost effective. For the application.
We're continually looking for other opportunities for parking spaces in that downtown area. Thinking maybe a private investment that'll bring in about 4 or 5 more right there at the corner, so that'll help.
How far back on the intersections are we gonna pour concrete?
So at the stop areas on Main Street, we're going 20 feet back. And then on the acceleration areas on Main Street, we're going back 10 feet. And then on Geiger and Jackson, we're just doing the stop areas where that would be 10 feet back on either side. On the stop areas.
Do we have an estimate yet?
We do. I don't have that with me though. I can get that to you.
Is it my understanding you're gonna look at all the stones that are related?
All of the parking and all of the roadway travel lanes.
Yeah.
So the pedestrian walkways will be maintained. So access to all the businesses will be maintained throughout construction.
Are you familiar with Evansville doing this same thing? Are
I'm
you
sorry.
familiar with Evansville doing this same thing?
So they had a similar, not the same because it was different method of construction. But Evansville did do the same thing on their Walnut Street project for the IU streetscape. And I've driven on that, so I live in Evansville. I work around that area and drive on that often, and seems to have really helped.
I read where they did the second go around, and then they ended up doing it third time, and third time they put pavement under it.
Yeah,
Is that true?
and that was a little bit different situation because they have curb inlets along that area, and they had castings that were settling, causing additional settling issues in the papers.
What was the longevity estimated on a redo of that street?
That's a great question. I know
It's the
from.
biggest question, probably.
It is, yeah, and it's, there's so many factors that you can't really put a number on it. Are people actually gonna drive 10 miles an hour on it? Probably not. So a lot of that has to do with vehicle speeds and the amount of pressure that's placed on the pavers at a time. And it all has to do with how well the stone is compacted below before the pavers are put on there. So obviously we have construction requirements for that compaction. But there's so many factors that come into play that I can't really give you, this is the guaranteed number that this is how long it's gonna be for.
On Gardner's 10, 15, 20.
I mean, on the concrete areas, you're not gonna have to worry about any rutting and hurting.
I guess, there's several options here. It's going with it as planned. It's the other option is go ahead and extend the concrete all the way underneath. We could even make that an alternate bid, so to speak. I think that price is there. I don't have a strong personal opinion on it. I frankly would be all right with just going over asphalt, frankly, but I know that would be very unpopular decision with most people. They like the look of the bricks out there, but realize that when you have the brick, that the maintenance, it will always be a maintenance issue.
It will.
So we're probably looking at what, 2 different segments of time frame? West Fourth or West Main, East Main?
As far as construction.
Yes.
So, yeah, so the way that we have it set up is we would be allowing them to work on half the road at a time. So I would anticipate they would start on the west half have that closed, and we have blackout dates as well for all of the events that you guys have going on for Fourth Street and the surrounding area to where they can't be, the road's gotta be open for those. And then they would, once they get done with the west half or the east half, they would swap over to the other side.
We've gone from, I think, 180 or 190,000 3 years ago, on an estimate to 230 a year ago. And now it's maybe above that even yet.
Yeah, I think we're close to 4 if I
Yeah.
have, yes.
But I think it was around 370. While I was looking.
Have
So,
we, I know
yeah,
some of these,
addition of the concrete is part of that.
I know some of these things would probably require contractor help. I know our water department dug up, fixed the leak on Main Street. Took the papers up, put the papers back. Is this something we could do in-house in sections? Does it all have to be done at one time, or?
It could be done, so we're looking at disruption of businesses and things.
Yeah.
As a consideration. Could be.
What are we digging? Submits out and then repacking it with rock, is that what? Or are we just gonna take the stones up and pack it with rock and get
Yeah,
it
so
where it has to be?
outside of the concrete aprons that we're installing, we would just be rebedding, so we're putting additional stone down, recompacting. And putting the existing pavers,
On top.
obviously, if there's any damaged pavers, those would be replaced.
Almost there. On there is a great. PC. I think it opened in 19, I believe, I could tell you, so, but, I think it was designed originally that it should have been 2022. It was 2019, I could actually look, that's what you were engaged actually, to do a plan for recompact material. I looked at the letter, that was gonna happen in 21 or 22, it never occurred. That's kind of where we're at right now. That's the way my suggestion is I would like to get it out for bid. We don't have to accept the bid, but at least we'll know where the bids are. And if we decide to take alternative methods that can steer us in that direction. We do have the blackout dates. We do need to provide through the end of next year to be able to figure out, where all the funds are coming from for that, but it'll give us a start. If it's 300, it's gonna be simple. If it's 400, it's gonna be, it's gonna dig in a little bit into the street, so just. So. Wanted to bring it to a public meeting, have a public discussion. If you're not ready to move on it today, I understand. I'm not sure. All of you are, I can tell by the appearance of looking at you, but I think it's a good time to bring BSN engineering in, at least propose this, so we can move together with some kind of a timeline going forward. If we decide at some point, we want to go another avenue, I think at least that we need to get some bids, and look at the options that are available to us. And look at all first bids. I think everything's on the table. We do have to fix the parking situation. We do have to fix the ruts. Can't allow it to continue to be there. We can't have a parade on 4th Street. We have vehicles that drag as they go down the street because of the ruts. It's annoying as anything to be able to take off at those intersections. In concrete. We've got also water and other valves that are on that street that we have problems with maintenance on those. That's what we first wanted. They're at 4th and Main, the west side. So we got to move to some.
So when we review the street, is there some utilities underneath that are gonna need to be updated or?
Probably not. Not right now.
I thought that was all done the first time.
It was, and the water line itself is flaking, the outside of it is. The liner is actually stronger than what the metal is. Still. The only thing that we could do is really don't want to, because the more we do, the more settling we're gonna have. Will be disruptive, since early back, it is. You know, we have more businesses now that are asking for a second water meter. And although they're given the option originally, when the building said nobody wanted one, now they do, because the apartments upstairs, businesses downstairs. That's something we would definitely have to consider, but I don't want to do anything that's going to take away from the action that's already occurred. The more you dig that up, you're going to start over again.
I think it's a good idea. I wish we could concrete the whole thing, but that's probably not cost.
We can put that as an option.
Well, I think if we
And I
don't,
think we should.
if we don't concrete the whole thing, I feel like that we need to go more than 20 and 10 feet. I don't think that's enough. I think you're gonna have the same problem 20 feet back as what we have now. If we're gonna do just partial concrete, I think we need to double, at least double the numbers, 40 and 20.
Is asphalt another alternative, asphalt outside the concrete stop sign aprons?
I mean, those are all alternatives that we could definitely look into. We're just wanting to keep it at a reasonable price as possible, with where we're at.
Concrete would obviously be much more expensive than the whole street and concrete, but asphalt may be more economical.
You're meaning an asphalt base. and
Yeah,
then,
asphalt base
with
on
ag.
outside the apron,
Papers
concrete
on top.
aprons.
What I was gonna have to, is your alternative to just putting rock and packing it in again, because we've already failed that once, we don't need to fail again. So is there an alternative on that base, like he's saying, is it asphalt or geoblanket or what? What other options are there?
Yeah, and I believe the existing pavement does have a geogrid and geotextile below the aggregate, so it does have that below it already. The asphalt is certainly an option, the concrete is certainly an option. Just keep in mind, if you do end up wanting to add in additional water meters or any underground utilities beyond that, it will be a little more difficult to do that work in the future, rather than just having aggregate pavers down there. So there is one plus side to the aggregate pavers as they are today.
That's probably the only advantage of my book, so. I'll just, I'll be frank, you know, and I know that's, our merchants, I've talked to them and, you know, they all think that. That's a great marketing tool, the bricks for them and for the downtown and the appearance that they have.
Yes.
I think I'm. You know, and I guess the jury's out on that. And so we have to talk together as a board about this and really look strongly at it. We can only do that in a public setting because doesn't allow us, open door policy has been allowed us to have discussions outside of this, so this is a good venue for this. As well as we have public that they can issue their comments. My personal belief, and it's an unpopular belief, but I'm okay with, I don't think it's gonna impact business at all by that being asphalt.
You mean just taking the brick all the way out and asphalt?
That's my opinion. Been wrong before, but that's my opinion. Certainly from the maintenance standpoint can serve. Help in a lot of ways from the maintenance standpoint. Anytime we put the bricks down, it will be something reoccurring every few years, whether that's 3 years or 10 years or whatever. Most the street is designed for a 10-mile-an-hour speed. I don't know how, it's very difficult to drive 10 miles an hour down through there. Very difficult. You're actually from an acceleration standpoint, with more pressure by taking off and stopping than 10-mile-an-hour speed puts on. So yeah, even at 10 mile an hour, you're braking. And about 200 foot-pound of torque hitting that as you take off, it's going to move something. So those are the proposals. You can make a recommendation, obviously, for looking at the situation. from other options. This was the option that's originally designed back in 2019 to 2021. That we had VS engineering that contract were coming there. There's no action taken on it at the time or any forward, so we'll be going to back up all you again.
Well,
I think we need to move on this very quick.
something needs to be done. It's pretty bad.
We need to do something that's just.
I'm fine with putting it out to bid just to see what comes back.
Asphalt.
How many alternatives we want to put in there.
What plans and specs presented to you today are just what's been explained. It's just
Yes.
yeah, acting and bringing, taking it the pavers, compacting the brick and stone and then adding the concrete
Paper.
intersection. You have to add some alternates, you have to add some design work for alternates.
My suggestion is that we don't ask for the court to go out to bid today, but we ask that we provide another alternate for two other solutions. Take additional confidence space to Dustin's suggestion and also do an alter, which is. So
Yes,
we could do that, we'll move forward. We realize we're gonna pay these guys a little more money to do some of those design work, so it'll be a little bit more money, so we'll. But not much, because most of the work has been done. Major ways.
They have now, for 4 years, you gotta do it again.
But I don't want to saddle this for the future, in the city. I've been to Mont City, I've been to Jeffersonville, I've been in a lot of places. And everything still utilize the bricks on the sidewalks and the parking, so do the asphalt. And it's been there for 15 years, and it's still working.
Yeah, to your point, the city that so just took out the brick pavers on Main Street, that those were originally supposed to be for pedestrian only, but.
And they're building new buildings on Main Street.
Yeah, and there's concrete in the travel right now, but there's brick everywhere else.
So we need a motion to go get alternatives or.
Yeah, I think the motion to go to bid is dead.
Yeah.
So I think we'll just take a motion to have a recommendation. We reconsider other options for the street.
We want to look at asphalt base, concrete base for the entire width, and then potentially asphalt for the travel lanes exclusively.
So the three additional options, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to make sure that that's what we're looking at.
I know.
Because the other option rather than asphalt, the whole thing is concrete.
You go all day, all back and forth with the options. All right. You good with that? I don't think we really need a motion for this direction at this point. But I believe the consensus is here to look at other options, so we can make a decision. Maybe work with that. Oh, let's get something together by the next meeting, a month from now. We'd like to be able to get something out to keep this thing moving. Don't want to stop it. Because of the blackout dates we have, it's going to be critical that we give a long period of time, by the end of next year. And I should get out there. Put this budget together to make sure that we have everything in place. We do still have money within that endowment, and we get % of the endowment. I don't know, it could be possibly a way to get early payments out of the endowment. There, Bill and I can discuss that with the foundation on options that we have there.
Mayor, I was just entertaining a motion to approve this engineering consultants. I'm not sure, I can't remember whether we ever actually get through consulting agreement with them or not, and so.
Yeah.
Just to cover a basis, I believe, board on authorized study of these options.
Okay, I make a motion that we authorize VS Engineering for discovery of new options for Fourth Street and continue the process. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you. I know you've done a lot of work on this. And
Appreciate all your comments and
thank you.
get this good.
Yeah. Street Superintendent Jason Snob.
Morning. Any questions on any of the report items? I've got some things there, other things that I'll cover. If there's nothing on the actual report. One thing I needed to add to that I didn't get put on the board pack. I'll go ahead and do it first, just to respect Mr. Mickey's time. Corey Mickey's here to discuss. The OFS came to me, I don't know, a couple months ago. Does that sound right, Corey? They're with their new addition that they're putting on their plant out on County Road 400. They came to me with the request to put a crosswalk from the west side of 400 to the east side of 400 to that new facility, the addition that they're adding on to that facility. I told them that, it was obviously it's something that the board needs to discuss. I'll let Corey, if you want to come up, you can talk about it, or basically what they're wanting to do, like I said, is put a crosswalk across. My biggest concern with it is two things. One, it's a mid-block crossing. By that I mean it's in the middle, it's not at an intersection. Okay. So it's basically, it would be between the railroad track and 12th Street or 19th Street. Okay. There's a grassy area on the west side is where it would basically originate and go across to a grassy area on the east side also. Like I said, my concern is, one, it's a mid-block crossing, and two, my biggest concern is the speed of the traffic out there. That's a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. So that is a concern of mine, to put a crosswalk in there. Now, OFS has also agreed to do like they've done on their other ones that we've installed for them. They would buy the pedestrian crossing signs with the flashing lights. That when somebody was going to cross that, they could push the button to make the lights on the sign themselves actually flash.
Do we control the speed out there, or would that be county?
That's us, because that's in the city limit.
So we could reduce the speed.
If you guys say that you want to do that, yes, that can be done. The speed can be reduced.
And there's no reason for it to be 45 right there, really.
In all honesty, no. Probably what that was years ago, before all that stuff was out there, when that was a true county road. It was probably 45-mile-an-hour then. And there's never really been an adjustment by the city to reduce that with, there's a lot of traffic out there. Y'all know that. Between Farbest and OFS's two plants of, is that out there, Corey? Four. With their four out there, there's, at given times, there's a lot of traffic. So, yeah, that's entirely up to you guys. If you
Not
want.
all of that is in the city limits,
Basically from Phoenix to 12th, and then from 12th up to about probably about 2,000 feet is out of the city, and then it goes back in the city to go from there to 64. So I don't know why that was like that, but
just those animals.
yeah, that's how it's annexed years ago. So
And I have spoken to Nathan, at our Safe Streets for All committee. We have Safe Streets for All committee. Those are police officers, fire department, local citizens, school corporations, and we have faculties and runners and other people that are involved, talking about street safety, and that was a topic of conversation. Asked Nathan to look at that speed consideration out there, from an enforcement standpoint. I think the chief has some comments on that too. On how easy that's gonna be, of course, with the acceleration coming from 45 down to 25. Where does that break happen? Are there other things that we can do to slow people down? I think regardless whether there's a crosswalk or not, we need to address the speed either way. It doesn't, this has just brought it to light, I think, more so than anything. And I think we should allow Corey that to present too and his thoughts on it, but if you wish.
Yeah.
So anybody, because we have a microphone, we want everybody to come to the podium and speak. I think we need to address the speed first. I do want to hear from the chief of police and his concerns regarding the crossing.
Well, as most of you know, we lost a factory, to some straight winds in the spring of this year, and it just expedited plans for expansion for us. And that plan was always going to be on that west side. And, our friends at Cash Wagner unfortunately have us doing about half the site as retention now. So parking became an issue real quick. And the grass spot that you're referring to where the old house was, we're going to excavate all that out and then provide parking, on the other side of the road from where the expansion is happening. As of right now, that's our best avenue to go down. And we wanted it, obviously, the cross path where Jason went, to emulate what we've done in the past, and it's been very successful. We had to do the same thing on Veterans Parkway. I think that was 35 at one time, brought that down to 25, and that's worked out pretty well. So we don't, like I said, have a lot of good options. That's the best one, is to get rid of that grass, get rid of that big knoll, and then allow people to park there and then walk across the street. So.
Yeah, and one of the concerns the city had with your development beginning was water retention with Elk Creek being there.
Yep.
You've addressed those
For sure.
Probably more than you wanted to address those.
Yeah.
But we're happy that it was addressed, and so you contribute to the problem we already have at Elk Creek. But to your point, that has caused another issue. Now you lost your parking.
So, and again, what's happening right now is a 60,000 additional. What we're doing is it's adding another 120,000. And we were planning on doing that, starting that in 27, 28. But now that's been expedited, and we're going to get ready to roll as soon as we can. And obviously all that dirt's being prepped now. So if we get it up and running, by the end of next year, we're going to have to address the parking. Like I said, for speed and for that area, as far as development goes, it only makes sense to put it there. So, I think if we can slow the traffic down a little bit, put a crosswalk on, we'll obviously pay, for the lights and signage. I think it's the best route for us.
We had one of the discussions that actually brought up was controlled crosswalks too, where you could actually require people to stop, if it was flashing. I know those are a little bit more expensive signage and options, but it's your employee safety too, as well as.
Yep. Yeah, everything right now, they're all, they have to be activated by the person crossing. So you have to push the button to, activate the lights, and maybe we can look at something a little bit more, sophisticated as far as that goes, and they automatically go off and there's, more lights, whatever. But those are all on the table.
Any questions?
Here's the chiefs.
Yeah, I think we want the chief's opinion, so.
Yeah.
You're the ones gonna have to enforce everything that goes on.
Just from a safety aspect on our end, my suggestion would be to drop the speed before putting it in. Just so we can kind of regulate the speed limit a little bit before it goes in. Because 45 coming over the tracks, that's not a lot of time to stop.
Yep.
And then also some questions that I have are, is it a night shift? Are they going to be crossing in the evening times? Visibility, lighting during the evening. In that general area, I don't know exactly where the crosswalk is going to go. But if we could get some street lights or something, to shine down on it. As far as the crosswalk itself, the signage, the blinking lights, I've seen it to where, like at football games and stuff like that, where they have actual flashers below the signage, just to bring more attention to it. Because I know on Veterans Parkway, we have issues with people just crossing the road right in front of Plant
For sure.
plant 10.
Yep.
Just going into the driveway.
Yep. If
They
you
don't
can
go to the
control 'em, let me
crosswalk,
know.
so. But
We struggle.
yeah, I know, and that's what I think. I feel like that will happen there too.
Yep.
So my concern is getting the speed limit dropped ahead of time, so we can, and it's not. Yes, it's speed enforcement, but a lot of it's gonna be education based. Hey, just an advisement, speed limit dropped, you know. Because everybody out on Veteran Parkway thinks that that's shooting fish in a barrel. It is, but I could tell you about 90% of our tickets out there, our stops out there, are warnings because of that speed change. Even now, I mean, we still get people running 50 down through there. Now those people get citations, but yeah,
Yep.
90% of it is warning. So that's my concerns with it. It's a safety thing, for visibility with the tracks, and like you said, a mid-block crosswalk is not ideal, but
You have a recommendation on speed?
I'm good with 25.
So we're about just taking
So-
25 from 12th Street all the way up to Phoenix. Just do the whole stretch 25.
You could.
Because if you go from 45 to 25 somewhere through
That's
there,
gonna be a mess.
that's gonna be hard.
Yeah,
I'll look at it a little bit closer, but to me, I think you could go 25 from 12th across the tracks to maybe 19, and then up at the 35 till you get to Phoenix.
yeah,
Because you basically only have, I think it's Far Best
yeah.
wash plant there
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. That's great.
And then coming in, you could basically do the same thing. You could go 35 to 19th or in that area, and then step it down from 35 to 25. By the time you get to that crosswalk and all that, you'd be at 25 again.
Mhm.
That would be my recommendation. So
We have 2 speeds on that road right now, and I don't go to a third one, so whatever we can do.
Yeah.
Before the speed limit?
We have 25, 45 goes down on. There is a 25-mile-an-hour section too.
But I think to answer your
Nobody
question,
is.
to answer your questions too, there will be a night shift. And
Yeah.
again, what the construction that's happening now will not, we won't need the crosswalk. It'll be late next year. So we have a window of
Yeah.
time, to hopefully get cars to slow down.
Sure.
And then lastly too, just from the lighting aspect, REC's been very good about putting lights on the poles for us. And if you ever go out there, you can see it's very well lit for those reasons, because we run a night shift in there now for people just to get from the parking lots into the buildings. I
Yeah,
can't imagine we wouldn't do anything different,
sure.
there. So
Well, let's work with myself and Jason and the chief, as well as we'll work with Nathan on making a resolution or a suggestion. In the end, the suggestion, what the Board of Public Works will then do is make a recommendation to the council for changing of speeds or anything else that has to occur. Their recommendation really needs to start here for those council. We have a couple council members here today, which is good, but that's the flow. That's the work. We've had some discussions internally, and I think the speed was the biggest one. Let's decide. I like the chief's suggestion. He actually came to me and said, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" I said, "Well, we're considering speed adjustment for that."
Yeah.
He was right on top of it. He said that was the biggest concern. We appreciate the investment. I don't think anybody knows the significance of investment that OFS is making out there, but this original investment on the 60,000 square feet was a way to bring operations, consolidate those within Huntingburg and ensure that there are continued investment in the future of jobs and everything is in Huntingburg, and we are appreciative of that. And we want to work with you and come up with a resolution. We don't want to put people's lives at risk by any means. But I think there could be some alternatives. I mean, even considering that the parking lots, we could fence an area or put a barrier, some kind of natural barrier even in place that would force people to cross at the crosswalk. And natural barrier could be a bank, or it could be a landscaping or something that would encourage them to use the regular. I think we need to look both sides of it, as well as we need to include the county. Because there is a county speed limit posted out there on one section that we're all consistent with our speed through there. We can do that pretty quickly. And we're actually working with Cash Wagoner already on the Safe Streets for All, and that is one of our. We have Chestnut Street intersections, some other school intersections that are on our list of priorities, but that has definitely made the list this past meeting. So probably no decision today, recommendation, but I just challenge kind of the same thing with 4th Street, that we keep moving with these projects, and we can't wait. I think that we can come to a solution, but if we can work it out by our next public works meeting, and we don't have this hanging over us for the next 2 or 3 months, I think it'd be great. Thank you, Corey, because what is your timeline, I guess, with you too, on having a decision on the crosswalk?
Oh, I think, by the end of the year is, is sufficient time for us. It's like I said, we won't be utilizing it until probably, getting close to this time next year, if construction, progresses like it.
Of course, you have any issues, I mean, his recommendation going from 19 for Phoenix being different, that's not a big issue.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think 25 might be a bit of an issue, stay in that 35 range, and if you're comfortable with that, I think, we would be fine with
Be
that.
fine with that,
Yeah, because we really don't go past, our plant 6, and
right?
we are putting another 80,000 additional square footage on the end of that building too, and that's gonna happen in conjunction, with, this project. So there's a lot gonna be going on out there for sure, but we don't have the parking situation in that complex, and not near as many personnel either. So, but I think 35 is fine.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on then, I did get a request to add an autistic child area street sign down on First Street. Again, it's just something that, I bring to you guys to make sure that you're aware of it and are okay with it. We put these up, I think there's at least one, maybe 2 in the community already. So if you're all right with that, we would proceed with putting those up there for that family. I can't remember their name, but
Is it the Deerings
yeah, it might be.
down there at our gym and First?
No, it's on the other side of 64 or 231.
Oh, okay.
It's west First Street there.
It's west of
231.
231
It's west of the village.
on First Street.
He's still east First Street, yeah.
Yeah, it's still east. But they like I said, they called and asked if we could do that. And I said, well, I would present it to you guys if you had an issue with it or not. But if not, we will go ahead and basically it takes 2 signs because you got to cover both directions.
It's just signage, warning signage, or caution signage.
Yeah, it's a yellow caution sign that says caution autistic child in area or something like that.
It doesn't require an ordinance. It does require the most.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
We have a first and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
The next thing is the no parking signs at Hunter's Crossing on phase 4. We have basically everything out there aside from phase 4 done on the signage. My recommendation is that we keep obviously the same side. And it's hard to explain it there because phase 4 has streets that run east and west, north and south. Unless you're out there and seeing them, it's hard to explain which ones are which, but my recommendation would be to keep the same side on all those streets as no parking. Don't change anything to any other side, or it basically.
If you remember, the reason that those signs aren't there now is because they've never been had never been accepted in the city. No.
Right, we just, you guys just accepted that section of streets into the city a couple of board meetings ago, I believe. So now that that was accepted, then we have to get up the no parking signs. Obviously, the biggest reason we want those up is for the emergency personnel on their entrance and exit.
Been out there the last couple of nights and I would tell you, people are parking both sides. So
Yeah, we need to get them put up.
I make a motion that we do that, give an issue with it.
Well, no, but what streets are those guys? We have to amend the ordinance as well.
Yeah.
It's not in, it could be in.
I doubt, I don't know if it said like to the end, like the ones, the cul-de-sac, it runs back and. Not exactly sure.
Well, just, you know, get you the names of the streets and the
Yeah.
times for each street side.
Right.
You know, or,
Right. And I think that's how we determined it the last time, was just,
double check.
Yeah.
In the ordinance already, we may have.
we may have put it in there when we wrote it the last time, knowing that it was coming.
But I don't remember the name, street names.
Yeah, I, the one. But any questions on that? I mean, is everybody okay with keeping those synonymous with the way they were or are? Donnie, do you guys have any
To the council and.
problems with keeping it the way it is out there?
No, as long as we have one side open, because I couldn't drive our big truck through there the other night. I mean, they were on both sides.
Right.
We need a motion to make a recommendation. Council to follow the existing patterns of no parking in Hunter's Crossing. To follow the existing ordinance patterns that we established. We have to add a street to it now. We can't very next. That's the motion really right now. Three.
Second.
Second, we got first and second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Which carries.
A couple change orders to go over here. Change order number one for J.H. Rudolph is for community crossing project number 3. You should have that in your board pack. That change order is for $15,333.63. That was for additional base, HMA base, a little bit of extra sidewalk that we ended up removing and replacing on Walnut and then on Jackson also. The HMA base price that you see, the biggest thing with it is when that job was bid, it was bid to do deep patching along the curb on Walnut on would be the east side. After it was placed into bid, the water department ran a new water line down through there. Basically what they did was they took the old one out, put a new one in. They brought rock to the top of their trench and left it like that because it was silly to put the asphalt in there at that time. So when they came in and did the deep patching, they also deep patched what we had in our plan, and then they also deep patched that water line trench. So that is where we come up with the additional base asphalt for Walnut Street.
That was just all extra that came up last minute because they put the water line in.
Correct. Part of the water line issues, well, there were a couple of things that failed at the intersections there, but there was a combination of 4 and 6 inch lines all down Walnut. Plus we had the lead line replacement that was coming in. They knew they're probably gonna have to replace it. We just didn't know that it was gonna be that much.
Yeah.
At the time that we did it, we thought it was gonna just be some laterals here and there. But as we got into it, some of these lines were put in the 50s and 60s. I think they just used what they had available.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they put the lines in. We're gonna run into that a lot within the city, unfortunately. Especially the water.
Yeah. So I mean, that was basically, we broke it out a little bit. $4,500 of that was additional that the street department had done. I had them do a little extra on the end that I felt like needed to be dug out and patched at that time. But to cover the water line trench, basically it was like $8,117.
My recommendation is that we address the additional costs with the water department versus from the street, because it is a water project. We would still have to approve of it, but how we break, approve the change order, but how we break it out, needs to be part of the budget. We've done that in the past. It's pretty normal. Let those budgets that way.
Yeah.
And it's better to do it now than after it's paid.
Any questions on that change order then?
Change orders by itself. Because you got another one lumped on here with it for $30,000.
This Walnut Street from First to Third. Showing $30,553.
Oh, yeah, I got that one here. The actual two that are change orders are the two that they have to cut. The change order itself has to come from cash buyer. So this other one that is here is not, this one hasn't been presented yet. Okay. The 30,000. Yeah. That one has to go through Cash Wagner and they check it off and make sure this.
You're just wanting approval of the 15,333.
Correct.
Right now, our CCMG projects are prior to the change orders of 30,000 under budget right now. We're plus we're receiving a $6,000 reimbursement from Rudolph on 19th Street for the manhole investments. They reimbursed us a little over 6,000 for that off the bill. So we're about 36,000 right now. CCMG this year prior to the change orders.
So yeah, that change order one would be that 15,333.63. That's what we're needing approval for that.
I mean, part of that 15 is gonna be split up.
For the water department.
Any other questions?
It looks like Cash Revenue signed up on the one. On change order 3, it says recommended for approval 7/29/25. And has been writing our PE signed up on J.H. Rudolph.
I'm a little confused today. I was gonna ask that after we went through on the next one.
Yeah, but it has to, Cash Wagner, and they actually type this one, when they are already change order, it says change order on top. And they haven't done that on this one, on the J. Rudolph one yet.
Because it just appears as an invoice, you see here.
Yeah.
So what is the significance of the 30,553.63? Invoice that I'm looking at right now.
I'll have to get that clarified more on what all that is. And then that'll have to be a,
Yeah, Nathan here, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know if
Please
he's,
speak to it.
yeah,
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Walnut from first to third. This was the actual change order.
Because it's not a change order. It's really right now, it just looks up an invoice for the base.
Right,
That's where the sidewalk was placed.
right, so this would be approving
This is their pay application number 6.
So it looks like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so they application.
we have the contract.
So it just actually, that's what
I'm trying to find the change order, the other change order.
So that's what they turn in to get paid by.
That's probably on there by mistake, right?
The 12,000 is included into that.
That they're,
Yeah. Yeah. The rest was just work that they did.
it's part of that.
Yeah. This was extra. The 12,000 was the
It's
extra
actually
part.
15,000, but yeah, it's included within that payout.
Right. Right. Change order was just additional work. So you would actually take the 12 out of that 30 or whatever. Okay.
So really looking at page 2 as well. 3-page document. The rest of it are pay apps as well as the contract,
Correct.
which price at the end with the change order.
Yeah.
Added to it.
Correct.
Now it's a little more clear. So we need to look at a change order approval of 15,333.63 with the portion brought out as realizing that the water department for their work has to pay for their sections,
Right.
which really just be the line base and the bill in there.
Right. That's all
The
it would be,
asphalt.
the base asphalt.
So the water department would be responsible for the base. Everything leading up to the base. Including the base. Okay.
Change order 2 for.
We need to approve, we know that motion.
I'll make the motion to change order number 1.
Second that.
In the first and second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Change order 2.
Change order 2 for Rivertown was the addition of basically 16 linear feet of 12-inch pipe that we ended up running them a little bit longer, farther than what had originally been in the plans. So that was on Clay Street.
And the amount on that one,
Do what?
and the amount on that one, dollar amount,
37.
how do you get to the 3,700? I'm looking at that.
The amount for this one is $832.
Okay,
The previous change order was 3,700. If you look down there at the bottom where it has original contract, it has net changes on previous change order 37. Net changes this one, 832.
okay, so it's just
So this is
832.
Yes.
I was confused.
Yeah, I don't know why that actually got put on there the way it did, but yeah, it is got
So the approval for the change order number 2 of $832.
$832.
Make a motion to approve that.
I'll second, first and second, all those in favor? Aye.
Okay. Basically, just an update then on what's going on with our projects. And I think the mayor may have alluded to it a little bit there. About the manholes on 19th Street. I did run numbers on that as to what the city had sticking in that for a cost on those. And that dollar amount that it cost us for labor and material was $4,806.42. Talking with J.H. Rudolph, they ended up giving us a credit. And I think that was probably included in your board pack stuff. Where it said 19th Street manhole adjustments. They give us a credit of $6,200 for doing that. So they're basically saying that's what it would have cost them to do what we did. So I think that was a fair amount for them to give us back on that. So basically what they're gonna do is they're gonna take that credit and apply it to the Argent Street redo that we have to do down there. the other paper that I give you had for the repairs to South Argent Street of a lump sum of $21,160. And then if you take that $6,200 credit off of there, that brings that down to $14,960 to do the repair on Argent Street. Basically, met with them down there and on Argent. What they're gonna do is they're gonna come in and they're gonna mill from the curb on the west side out to the milling head width. They're gonna take all the asphalt off. Then we will come in and dig down to where we feel like it's a decent subgrade. Backfill that with stone and with geotextile. And then they will come back in and put base on it and then put surface on it. And it'll basically run well, I think it may even tell you in here. It'll basically run the length of Argent Street from the north end to the south end.
We've had two of these instances, I think, in the last year that were similar to that. These roadway edges that were, I think somebody just maybe at one time were paving, decided to make the street a little wider.
Well,
and do the bases.
We went back and looked at the pictures of the road before it was touched, and there was nothing there that showed an indication of issues. Could we have core sampled it? Yeah, we could have, but was there a chance we would even hit that right spot? I can guarantee you one thing, we have learned our lesson with this. We will not do any more streets without core sampling before we do them. Now, is that going to guarantee us to not have problems like this? No, but can it help? Yeah, it can help. So we will be doing a lot more core samples on streets. We're actually going to do some on 14th Street to see what's going on out there. We've got some other streets that, you know, anytime we get ready to do a project, we're going to do multiple core samples on there. Now, basically our core samples, and just so you clarified on what a core sample is on our behalf, a core sample is to tell you basically how much asphalt's there and possibly how much stone. We don't have the ability to get into the dirt to tell you what type of dirt and soil it is. You'd have to hire that out to another contractor or somebody that can do that. We can't do that. So like I said, we've learned our lesson with it. We used to never end up with these issues, but here lately it seems for whatever reason, the streets that we've been doing, we've had issues. Whatever that is, I don't know the answer to that. So like I said, we learned our lesson. We will do core samples, multiple ones, and hopefully we can find these issues and include them then in the scope of the work for those streets.
Nothing's 100% at this point. We try to do our best with laterals and getting those things updated, replaced, working through stormwater, whether it be gas, water departments, but every now and then one comes through. But we are doing more due diligence now that we have, I think, in the past, to try to make sure that we're not doing something twice again. We're digging something up, we just lay it down. It's getting aggravating. So it happens. So we have water lines, stormwater lines that are well over. So we can't be 100% sure about any street. We'll just provide the.
I mean, for whatever reason, this year too, we've had an abundant amount of sinkholes pop up all over town. What that's from, I don't know. I mean, we've had them in the streets, we've had them in people's yards, we've had them in a lot of places. Yeah. You know, we got one that popped up down there on 3rd Street, right, east of Jackson. And we went ahead and included it. It was actually outside of the project limit for Jackson Street project. But I went ahead and had that hole dug up to see what was causing the sinkhole, so that we could go ahead and when we pave, we'll just pave a little bit farther to the east to help with that. So I don't know. I don't have an answer to why it is or why they're popping up like that, but you know, we check all that stuff before we send projects to bid, but Anyhow,
I like the part that we're gonna take care of this. I'm still not happy about this street, and I probably never will be. We're gonna pay them to pave it, which they've already done. We're gonna pay them $15,000 to fix it. We're gonna have your guys' time and material into working down there too. This is not a good use. This is a very bad use of taxpayer money. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, it's probably nothing that we can do about it. I understand that, but I just feel like I like going forward that we're gonna take a bigger look at this, but this is a business. We were a business, we're going broke with this kind of thing. Just my opinion. I know where we're at and
And I disagree with you, so.
yeah, so.
well, I agree too.
We've asked, that's where I asked for a plan on future streets. How we're gonna prevent this in the future and move forward. Frankly, in hindsight, we should have stopped immediately on that street and fixed everything, and then it would have been a lot less than a few thousand. We still would have had to fix the issues, but
And we did, where Bargum tied into first, when they milled it, we found a problem there, and we did fix it before it was paved. But I
I was gonna say, it's hard to imagine they didn't run that equipment on there on that street. And when they were milling and see the base under that, they were that problem.
and that's what they
Those workers
did.
could see that.
Yeah, that's what they did on the part where it tied in. That's when they called and said, hey, we got a problem here. So it showed up there, but the other part of it didn't show up till they actually did the paving part of it. The milling machine didn't do it. So, obviously had it been done or showed up then, we would have fixed it before it was paved. So.
Right, tell you something real quick. I'd say sometimes the problems are the construction equipment finds the problem. Whether we would see it or not, or whether we sample it, we wouldn't necessarily find it in construction, but the way the construction equipment, the vibrations, sometimes we'll find those problems pretty quick.
This one turned up pretty quick after the.
Yeah.
It's like real quick.
I agree. So basically, the upcoming plan for them is, Rudolph is supposed to be in here probably next week or relatively in that time frame to do that milling over there on Argem. And then they're gonna jump with the milling machine from there to Jackson, to mill Jackson, and then mill Walnut. And then they will come back and they would start putting surface on Walnut, surface on Jackson. And then put the base and surface back on Argem at the end, and we'll with that. 7th Street is the only project that's still left in their contract. And obviously, if you've been through 7th Street, it looks like a bomb went off down there. With the construction of those duplexes that are being put up. So that was an agreement between Rudolph and Kirstein's, the builder of those apartments, as to they would pay the extra mobilization to have Rudolph and their milling company come back in and they're done and ready. So the only stipulation that we had was we'd like to see it done before the end of the year this year. So they're putting new curb and gutter in for their project. Once they get that done, and I told them we would hold off on doing any work till the bulk heavy traffic is off of that street.
We talked to Rudolph in the beginning about November paving. I think there was $11,000 deployment cost. Premier Properties picked up the $11,000 in cost of customers. So the additional employment cost. No, the rest. So, and we'll have a clean street after the construction.
That's correct. And we did run a new storm sewer up there to help with the drainage of that also. So far as 2nd Street goes and Clay Street goes, CalCar Paving is doing that. They are planning to be here on Wednesday the 13th, Thursday the 14th. they do their deep patching. And then they're going to mill and surface on both of those streets the week of 8/15 or Monday, the 18th, somewhere in there, he said. You know, I mean, obviously, these second and clay is a little bit different because you have a contractor that's not the paving contractor doing the project. So they're kind of tied to the schedule of the paving contractor. Calcar Paving is the paving contractor. Rivertown is the general contractor for those jobs. Rivertown gets their portion done, but then Calcar is busy. Well, then Calcar has to have a milling company also lined up to come in. So there's a lot of scheduling that has to go on those two. Now, the other one is just J.H. Rudolph, so there's a little bit easier to schedule there, so. Anyhow, that's basically where we're at on those streets and those projects.
Will there be a change order from ours?
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, that was basically this one construction service quote that I think you guys, I don't know if you got those or I don't know if I sent those because they really don't, but they had it quoted at 21,160. And then they were gonna take that $600 or $6,200 credit off of that. But made it like 50.
I won't be able to consider that with that. The documents.
Any questions?
No. I think we're not here. But
Yeah.
lessons learned.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Water to clear back. Good.
Good morning.
Oh, some of you were here for the bid opening yesterday. Good place to start.
Yeah, I'll start with First Street, opened bids yesterday. Going over with Commonwealth and Bill and everybody, I recommend awarding it to Triple Tex for $401,450 for the base bid. That is just the center of the rock, the trench, and some of the panels for the laterals. Then we can visit the alternate later at some point.
Alternate is the north side of the street that does need to address, and we've got to look at the budget to see where our final draw is on Division E. See what's left there to make a final decision for the last 4 days. Recommendation next Board of Public Works meeting on north side. But until we know how we're exactly going to pay for it, there is money probably there, but I will check on those final draws because we have Commonwealth here, but we want to clean up some of the bills, you know, that are coming in because there's some deducts. There's some ads, there's some line items that are underspent. Money over, we've got to get a full accounting of those and ensure that the work is substantially complete, but not 100% correct to complete. So substantial completion's already been tested too, but not final completion on this phase. Some inspections yet. Once we get done with that, then I think we'll be able to recommend to do the north side area that was not really touch the project because part of the project so the street which we feel that's over but
So if we can approve the $401,450 for the base bid, the center.
Now, there's money left in the original bid that's gonna cover this, right?
Yes, we'll be on its money to cover that.
This will take care of the middle section and the fingers.
Yes,
The laterals, okay.
it's not gonna do the whole north section.
All right, no north side, I know that, okay.
On the intersections. And then if we do this, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks, we can have reconstruction, you know, notice proceed.
I'll make the motion to proceed with Triple D.
I'll second that.
got a first and second, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving forward, Division A is moving along. They're gonna do a sidewalk 4 on the top of the SBR tomorrow. Steel's showing up for the chemical building tomorrow also. They got the blocks laid up on that. If you guys want to come down and check it out, they'll be set in steel. Hopefully mid end of the month. hopefully get the second floor poured on the chemical building and that stuff. The wet well. Lift station is all complete now. They did set a pump in there to make sure everything fit on the guide rails, everything's painted. And done in that, and they're actually starting on the UV structure now, so. Things are moving along pretty good. Other than that, we had some issues with skid steer, we had a. Maintenance and a hydraulic pump went out on that, so see the invoice to it, but. Other than that, the guys are gonna be on Clay Street for manholes up there today. Doing that, and then the county. I think Jason said something about 400, or about 400. They tape all that. So we got 3 manholes out there. Yeah, raise up. Just gonna put 1.5 inches over 400, so we'll be out there working on that also. Other than that, we're doing regular routine maintenance and. Move forward.
400 Pine County cities, so we have a very small portion,
Yes,
just right off of,
6th Street.
6th.
And we have 3 manholes there, and they need to be. They're old capacities. But they're done. Any questions?
Yeah, man, I've got to ask, what's the timing on trip T starting?
Both of them got notice from me and 2 to 3 weeks
2, 3.
to notice to proceed, and then. I don't know what it says.
Contract time, I think, was 120 days, but definitely gonna be done before December. December's when our cutoff is on the money.
Notice it to me.
So you're gonna issue notice of award today?
Yeah, we'll issue notice of award today. Then usually take a couple week or so to get insurance certificates, bonds, and all that stuff together, and then we'll do the notice to proceed as soon as we can. Get mobilized out there.
I think that's the only 2 documents we need is insurance and the bond.
And bonds. Yeah. Usually takes about a week or so to get those pulled together. So.
Get that.
Let's get First Street done.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else?
We may go out of line here. Do you have an inspection at 10 o'clock, Paul? Yeah.
No.
Well, they asked to reschedule.
Okay.
They would like for, this is in reference to the Dairyland properties, all issued and request for inspection of the properties. And apparently the owner's agent was out of town, just now received the notice, and they have hired Hinterlighter Environmental Services prior to receiving the notice to work with them on demolition of those buildings. And so we still want to inspect them, and they would like for their Hinterlighter, their representative, to be present of the inspect. So they're going to reschedule. Yeah. That's the last I got from her. Yes, I've heard clean stuff. The owner's representative.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
So, all right, then we'll keep you on there. I just want to make sure too, our engineer was aware of it here. Yes. March, police chief, Brad Kramer, second time we go from you today.
Any questions on the report? No questions. Just to update you guys. Officer Shin will be graduating tomorrow from the K9 school. So he spent the last 6 weeks up there doing narcotics training, tracking, apprehension, stuff like that. He'll be back on the road next week. We're ready to go. So the last and final thing that I have is our camp that we ran with the fire department. I just wanted to give a public shout out to OFS, Stein Camps, the street department, the water department, the parks department, Gaslight, Subway, and Team Man McDonald's. Without them, we couldn't have done this, and it was a lot of fun. So we had a blast doing it. I don't know if you guys follow our social media stuff, but it was awesome. And I think Donnie, safe to say, his group had fun too. So. But. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, fire chief.
There is one typo, the total runs for July is 36 knots, or 37, not 36. We had a last minute run on the 31st, and when I updated my report, I missed that one line, so it is 37. Out of the last year, and the last 12 months, 10 months have been well over our historical average. June and May were historically average, but everything else is well above that. And July was there too, so see what August does. Are there any questions on any of that? No. The only thing I have to add is we actually have a date for our ISO audit, and that'll be in October. Monday, October 6th, so I'll be getting with Jerry Austin, and we'll be discussing some things there to get ready for that. Our new recruits start Monday. Their formal training, so they're excited, we're excited. And then there's the list of all the things that we have coming up. Our Citizens Academy starts in less than a month, and that's going to be, and even they're excited, the people that have signed up for it. I've talked to several.
Maybe talk a little bit about that if you could, because everybody understands it is a cross section of representation.
So it's civic education. We opened it up. This is the first year we're trying it. I believe in trying everything twice. So if it doesn't go well, we'll make adjustments. I think it will go well. Chris Lee and myself have been planning. We started a year ago planning this. So, and we're going to give them a deep education of fire service and what their fire department does for them. It's not it could be a recruitment tool. If anybody in the future signs up, has an interest, like I really am more interested. It's not intended for that. It's just intended for civic education so that they understand all the ins and outs. We'll talk about cost, time, the time that we do, the training that we do, the services that we provide, and just give them an insight to the fire service. These happen throughout the country. It's just not really around here, and we're gonna set the standard here.
Thank you.
No further questions.
John. Thank you to the police and fire for working so well together. Past year or so here, very happy with both chiefs and enthusiasm with working together, especially. Well, if you don't have an inspection, it's probably so.
Good morning, everybody. Building permit report, everybody's got that? Any questions on it? Okay. Code enforcement. I did pass out before the meeting a clean packet. Well, I should say clean packet. I noticed after I loaded stuff up in the community that the pictures for the 422 North Jackson Street property did not print out or did not show up in full size. So I wanted to give you a full size set of those photos. That project is one that they need to make all the repairs that were listed in that letter by August 16th. In my opinion, that's unlikely to occur. That property is on the list for the tax sale. If none of the repairs are made, then first business day after that, I will get with Phil to draft an order for an unsafe building order. And then get that filed at the county recorder's office. There already are liens on the property. for unpaid violations to the city for grass cutting and that the city has had to take care of. So if somebody at the tax sale decides to consider purchasing it, they should show up if they do a lien search. My experience has been a lot of them do not. But that one's in process. Dairyland is the other one. As Phil alluded to, we had to schedule a meeting for this morning at 10 a.m. to be out there to have the property owner let us into the buildings. There are actually 3 or 4 parcels there, 3 structures. And then there was a flurry of phone calls and conversations between myself and their facility contact person, and Phil ended up being the one that got to lead that conversation. So as Phil indicated, it will be rescheduled. Hopefully, it indicated she had said something about possibly next week, so it's not like we're gonna let him put it off a long time. So once we've got a report, we'll be able to get that back to you at your next meeting.
According to my conversation with the facilities representative, their intent is to demolish all those buildings, and that's why they hired Hinterleiter prior to us doing the enforcement action against them to discuss demolition. And I think that can be confirmed because there've been some inquiries about the requirements for disconnecting sewer and other utilities prior to demolition.
And the question came up, are we wasting our time if they're gonna demo anybody?
Yeah.
Other attempts of other events have been not followed through, with that location since the pumps were removed. I think 1999.
Yeah.
Was when the pumps were removed, and a lot of back and forth, that, and we'll just say it, it's one of probably 2 buildings in that area that we need to go after. And it's been discussed. We started taking action, whatever their action to demolish happened before our inquiries or after, I don't know. But I can't be assured that they'll follow even through on the demolition, so we're gonna continue whatever we have to do at this point to be able to attach any fines or even at least a work order of things to accomplish it. I think it'd be worth our time. If anything, it'll be a learning experience for the next building that we're gonna go after. And then we'll continue going after the vacant buildings. We're also reviewing some vacant and abandoned building ordinances that other cities have used to be able to adapt to the city of Huntingburg. One of those is making themselves available 24/7 for inspections, and if they have somebody, if they're that vacant landlord from out of state or on the way, they have somebody within 50 miles of, we have decided within 50 miles, but within a time frame that they can respond to the site quickly for these types of inspections, so we don't have this in the future. Because I think these are coming out of Louisville right now.
Yes.
Maybe. Okay.
Any other questions on either of the reports? Jay goes down to 1 lot. They do, if you read the report on code enforcement, they did get a notice that they are beyond needing to cut the grass, and their deadline's today or tomorrow, I think. So. If no questions, thank you very much.
Good morning. Any questions on the report? I did meet with a consultant on the ADA and Title VI plans. She gave us a list of things to do so that we're staying compliant, so we're gonna update all of those. And then she's gonna check the code again, and then we have to turn it in October, so. So that'll be quite a bit for the next month or so.
Well, complete on our liability quotes with
Yeah,
risk
everything
assessments.
is signed out, and yeah,
You had 3 risk assessments, you had to do 3 reports.
yeah. There's quite a few, so, but yeah, all of those are finalized, all the renewals are finalized and everything, so.
It's not getting any cheaper.
No, but it really didn't go up too much, so.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I think Tom was happy to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Attorney Thomas Dipple. Anything from the board? Any citizen concerns?
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, just wants a couple clarifications. We talked last month about the streets. One of, I just want to bring up back up Argent Street, $14,960. That'll be a change order. Are we anticipating any more?
No.
So that should be the final number. And then Second Street, brought up Second Street. Is it true that the base, because of First Street, is pretty well shot, and we're gonna have to redo the base portion of it? So that'll be a change order on Second Street?
No,
Where's that money coming from?
the contractors hash that out to see whose fault it was.
Good deal. So that was between the two of those?
Yes, sir.
Right. And then with that, 2 to 5 year plan on the roads, do we have that available?
Yeah, we can make that available. We still have to review years 3, 4, and 5, but yeah, we can get that.
What's the time frame for that, if you don't mind me asking?
We'll have it to the next board meeting. It's not a problem.
Get that at the board meeting or just get it from Mr. Dipple?
We'll get it at the board meeting. Board of Public Works.
Okay.
Well, you lose everything. We've already sent something out to the, for feedback from some of our utilities, and that's where some of it's involved. Sometimes if you move quick, well, there's 2 issues. One of those is what is the cost of the utilities that will determine whether you go years 2 or 3 or 4, and where that. The other one is right now is the uncertainty with community crossings. 1.5 million was the obvious amount that they were going. Now it's down to 1 million. They weren't going to open up bidding until early next year. Now it's going to be October again. As of last Wednesday, the short session of right now legislation will decide and make some corrections to that coming session. And that could be that we have to institute a wheel tax in order to be eligible for lane miles. It could be that we won't have to have wheel tax for that. We do have a county, but each municipality would have to possibly have to have one. So there's a lot of you say it's a 5-year plan, but I think it's a 5-year priority. And from a funding standpoint, with uncertainty of community crossings, we can't, when they're paying 80-20, we get a lot more done with community crossings than we can with our 20% applied to a few streets here. Because we have over 100 streets that need to be done.
I apologize, but I got, it'll be 10:30, so I apologize. I gotta go off. Thank you.
It's noted that pulled out, and we still have a quorum, so thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Next. Yeah, I got 10:30, I got it.
Okay.
So with that, I know there's another avenue to be able to get more funding for our roads that we talked about last meeting. That could be for cities with a account with less than 20,000 people, right? So that's gonna be able to be utilized moving forward, hopefully.
Yeah, it's gonna be based partially on Paisley ratings, but also it's a lane mile. Now to receive that, probably within this session, it's gonna require an option of the city of a wheel tax. But we're not even certain. That the governor last week and talked over some of those concerns. And he said, if you want street funding in the future, we want more skin in the game than what we're getting. So that was the last Thursday morning, straight out of his mouth. So we gotta wait and see. But and then what is the fee around? I mean, we've got some council members here, and what is it going to be worth it to do the wheel tax and bring that extra burden upon the citizens in Huntingburg for that wheel tax? And what is the net benefit we're going to see on those lane miles?
Good, so that's being looked into, because that was gonna be my next statement, right? So
Sometimes it doesn't make sense. You're
Absolutely.
taxing more than what you're going to receive off of some of those. Right now it's a moving target. CCMG.
So, with community crossings going down, what is our plan moving forward with our 2 to 5 year plan, right? So it seems like to me, we've been planning with community crossings being the forefront of our funding, which obviously they do give us 80/20. That's a
Yeah.
huge benefit. But 20 years ago, that's not how we did business here. So what is our plan moving forward on? We're losing funding. So how are we gonna plan?
20 years ago, we weren't paving streets. So, you know.
A little bit.
That was.
It's paving.
Paving. We go back, we look at it, not near.
As much.
What we're, yeah.
Not near as
what we're
much.
looking at now. But we do have lit as an option and actually lit funds have been instituted right now. We have 238,000 dedicated to out of the lit fund right now, partly for community crossings. Match 68 of that was match off the community crossings. The other 170 is for other street paving projects, and we have a similar budget set up for next year, that same amount. That also includes sidewalk construction, because we need to do some sidewalks. So the 170 right now, unfortunately, with parks being underfunded, right now, if they stay from an income standpoint, our income went down 160,000 last year for parks. We have to cover some lit in that. So lit's kind of been the answer for parks and streets.
I just know, financially wise, are we looking at, just budgeting these within in-house instead of just pre-planning on free money from the government that we're not gonna get?
Well,
Or potentially not
yeah,
gonna get, right?
yeah, the thing about it is, we're restricted to a maximum levy of 4% increase. Take that with a grain of salt, because Tom can tell you half of that levy we don't ever see. Half of that levy increase, I should say, do we ever see from a standpoint of income off of property taxes, wheel taxes are down, a lot of those things are, so we can budget all day long. At the end of the day, we actually had an extra 220,000 in our budget last year for streets. When the wheel tax and other incomes that were dedicated to streets came in from the auditors in November of last year, we had to take that 250,000 out. The LGF makes the final approval. So we didn't have enough income to even cover the increase. So to say that we're just continually budgeting, we can budget all day long. We've kind of had that discussion. We're in middle budgeting now. We can budget for increases, but we're probably not going to have the income to be able to cover those increases.
Great question.
Unless we could do a referendum and everybody votes on increasing their taxes.
Well, it's one thing we want to.
I'll let somebody else propose that.
That's one thing we want to stay away
Because
from.
I don't want to suggest that.
Well, my last question, BS was here, appreciate their involvement with forestry. But where's that money coming from for funding their research into forestry?
Right there, that came out of her budget.
But so it's coming out of lit, so. Okay.
Yeah.
How much do we have sitting in lit right now, do you know?
Well, our annual 660,000. We also have 351 that stays in there all the time, because that has to go against the bond for street department, fire department. We probably right now, when I looked yesterday, gosh, it's about 300 we got looked in there rest of the year. I don't know. We got 90. I looked at it yesterday, but I looked department by department to see what they were spent. We have 92,000 right now, and 62,000 in parks, about 100 and still about 138 left in streets, and that not including the 68,000 being covered from previous years.
Okay. And I think I know
Everybody else has pretty much been spent down. They're small projects.
I think I know the answer, but lit is strictly controlled by you, Mayor, is that correct? Or does that have to come to the board for approval?
That's kind of board for approval,
So,
as well as the TIF county.
so is BS approved for this additional
To the council
look into, for by council it was, do you know when?
2 months ago. May, not about right.
What's that?
The council, the BS contract. I don't know.
That's fine, I just wanted to,
Yeah, we budgeted this year, but they approved it. And actually, the original contract, BS engineering was approved in 2021,
so it's an open,
but we ended up changing the scope of work and redid the contract, and then had to get, I think the total cost was 20.
to do not exceed.
No.
We don't have a do not-
hourly basis.
So we don't have a do not exceed on that hourly basis, though, right? We do not, okay, we do not. Tom, can I get that contract from you? Can I get that contract from you? Not today, but.
You've asked for it, I can.
All right. I'll come in and fill that. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? You have a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?